Hello and welcome in everyone to One Piece chapter 1029. My name is Sai and today I'm going to be talking about the latest chapter of One Piece. It has been a week-long break, but we're here back at it again, and Oda did not let us down. He provided us with an amazing chapter. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So we pick up the chapter where we left off last time with Sanji versus Queen, and I have to say, this was a huge tease by Oda. Because I saw these panels and I got super excited. I said, oh my gosh, we are going to continue this fight and we're going to see some more feats by Sanji. We're going to see what his body can actually do now. And then I scrolled down 2 panels in and then he's just like, hey, see you later, Queen. I got to think about this. Deuces. And then he just runs away. I love this because it's so Sanji and it makes a lot of sense too. When you really think about it, Sanji essentially just got a huge power up out of nowhere. He is now closer to the family he despised so much, just in the course of a single chapter. When you think of Straw Hat characters and you think of Luffy and Zoro and how they powered up over the years, Luffy has fought many people, he's trained for so long, and he's naturally gotten these power-ups over time. Zoro, the exact same way. Sanji also trained. But beforehand, it's just like, oh, he's fighting all these cannon fodder people, you know, it doesn't really matter, he doesn't have to try that hard, and we don't really see any crazy power-ups out of nowhere. And then, imagine, just in the span of maybe like 30 minutes, Sanji is now this invulnerable monster. And he has this power of invisibility from the raid suit, he now has an exoskeleton that can break a Yonko commander's sword with his neck, and bullets don't even affect him anymore. So I do not blame him for taking a time out and just saying, hey, I need a breather, I need to think about this, and then we can continue this fight. I think the best part about this though is that Queen is following him like a lovesick tsundere. To me, it seems like Queen doesn't really want to KO Sanji or do anything too rash because he's actually quite interested in what's happening to his body as well. You gotta remember, Queen wanted to see what Judge was capable of, and then here's Sanji discovering his powers, and Queen, I can assume he's like, hey, I want to see what he can do too, so let's just throw everything we have at him and let's see what happens. So that's why Queen is having a lot of fun with this fight, and that's why Queen is focusing on Sanji and why he is homing in on him right now. Another reason why I'm okay with Sanji running away from Queen right now is to simply just change the scenery. Having this fight take place on the live floor is an injustice to the fight itself. The reason I'm saying this is because if somebody steps in to help Queen, it's gonna look bad for Queen. If somebody steps in to help Sanji, it's gonna look bad for Sanji. We need this fight to be soloed off. We need nobody to intervene with this fight right here. And to give an example of my point is that during this segment here, while Sanji is running away, you had beast pirates shooting at the back of his head while he was running. And it's like, we do not need none of those scrubs butting in on this. You know, granted, the bullets didn't damage Sanji, but it's still a nuisance. Zoro and King have already soloed themselves off. They're in some weird hallway, flying in the sky. So they're doing their own thing over there. Nobody is gonna hop in the middle of that. If you see King and Zoro fighting, you're not hopping in. Like, let's be real here. And Sanji and Queen should be respected at that level as well. And back to the scenery change, I think this is Oda's chance of showing us a different aspect of Onigashima. We could go to maybe Queen's laboratory. I think that'd be a really cool aesthetic, something entirely different from Onigashima as a whole. And one more thing before we move on from the Queen and Sanji segment is I want to mention one more time that Sanji got shot in the back of the head. It didn't do any damage. He did say ow, but realistically, the bullets bounced off of him like bullets off of Superman. So the reason why I like this panel right here is because this reminds me of Frankie. Sanji now has an amazing exoskeleton. Bullets hit him in the back and they bounced off. This is something that Frankie could not do, and to this day, his back is still a weakness. The reason I started thinking about Frankie was because during the time skip, Frankie was experimenting with Vegapunk's technology. And now that we know that there's this upper echelon of scientists with Vegapunk, Queen, and Judge, maybe this is Frankie's time to take his technology to the next level by experimenting on Sanji. Maybe he'll realize and, discover how Sanji got this crazy exoskeleton and he will apply it to himself, making his back no longer a weakness. I know that sounds like a little bit of a stretch, but you have to admit, if Frankie was so interested in Vegapunk's technology, why would he not be interested in Judge's technology as well? So I'm telling you, post Wano, all these guys are gonna get some major upgrades. So next up we have Big Mom versus Kid and Law, the most controversial part of the chapter. And the reason I say that is because people are now debating whether or not Kid and Law will be able to take down Big Mom. And without getting into that right now, I have to say I am oh so impressed with Kid and Law, because every time we go to the Big Mom fight with them, they're getting hit by almost every attack she throws out. They're barely dodging the attack she throws out. Big Mom whips up a new ability every time we see her. This time around, she had fire to shoot Law through the chest. She had a lightning blade going down. They barely dodge that. And these guys are just almost always on the ground, barely surviving. And you have to remember, Luffy got taken down by Kaido, yes, but Luffy had time to recuperate. He ate some food, he was chilling for a hot minute, and then he went back up and now he's fighting Kaido. Kid and Law have not had that luxury. They have been fighting all the way through, and now people are expecting them to take down Big Mom. I personally, I have to say this real quick, I am on the camp that I think Kid and Law are going to beat Big Mom. How they're gonna do that, I have no clue. Because as it stands right now, Big Mom, I would say, is at 90% health. Imagine her like a raid boss in an MMO. Big Mom has barely taken any damage during this entire arc. She's maybe taken 10-20% of damage. Kid and Law, on the other hand, have like 0% stamina. They're at maybe 20% HP, and here they are fighting a Yonko. They're fighting a Yonko. They don't even have advanced Conqueror's Haki yet. We know that Kid has Conqueror's Haki, but it's not advanced. And Law doesn't even have that. And they're supposed to take her down? I believe they will, because of what is premonitioned at the end of this chapter, and just the fact that Kid is Luffy's rival. I want to say that they will take them down somehow. I just don't know how though. Unless Kid unlocks advanced Conqueror's Haki, or he unlocks some sort of awakening or some crazy ability, I just can't see it. But the reason why I think they will be able to take her down is specifically because of what happens during the Hawkins and Killer section of this chapter. So with that being said, it's time to talk about the Hawkins and Killer situation so we can hop back to the Kid and Law situation. So we pan over to their fight and we realize why Kid is having these massive headaches, and it's because Hawkins is slamming his head into a wall. It looks utterly ridiculous. Hawkins to me has always been this really calm, composed, kind of evil kind of guy, and then just seeing him slam his head into a wall is just kind of silly. But it makes sense, right? He's not feeling any of this pain. He's not taking any of the damage. When he has a straw doll inside of him, all of the damage he takes gets directed towards the straw doll. And that right now is going to be Kid. So it makes sense why he's doing it, but I feel like there's better ways to do it. I'm surprised he just doesn't take his sword and, stab himself, but that's besides the point. So when we pan to this fight, Killer is on the ground, his mask is cracked, and I was like, oh my gosh, are we gonna get off screen? What is happening right now? Why is Killer losing? And then I remember what happened last time when we left off. Killer was afraid to hit Hawkins. He did not want to hit Hawkins because if he hits Hawkins, he hits his captain. That is something that no one would want to do. No first mate would want to attack their captain. If Zoro was in the same situation, I guarantee you that Zoro would not know what to do. If the roles were reversed, and if Zoro was fighting Hawkins instead of Killer, and if Hawkins had Luffy's straw doll instead of Kid's, I guarantee you that Zoro would also be on the floor taking that damage. And the funniest part about this, to me, is during all of One Piece, when we were first introduced to the Supernova, the worst generation, Kid and Killer were seen as the evil versions of Zoro and Luffy. They are rivals. Luffy and Zoro are inherently good people, and Kid and Killer, they're supposed to be these evil people. They got that high bounty because they burned the villages down and they killed so many people. During the pre-time skip flashes, we see what all the Supernova are up to. Luffy and Zoro are out there training, and then you have Kid and Killer burning people at the stake. These guys are supposed to be cold-hearted, and then here they are, Killer taking this damage because he simply does not want to hurt his captain. That goes to show that these guys are more than just, villains or rivals. These guys are also true Nakama, just like Luffy and Zoro are. Killer was willingly being beaten, mocked, and ridiculed and kicked around by Hawkins simply because he did not want to hurt his captain, and my respect for the man has skyrocketed. This is some Straw Hat level friendship right here. So while Killer is being kicked around by Hawkins, they start having a back and forth on why they chose the side they chose. Hawkins kind of doubles down on his stance that, yes, this is the wrong side. Yes, I don't want to fight with the Yonko, but this is the only way I get to survive. We cannot take them down. The probability is not on your side. And that's when Killer says, we're going to defy that fate. We are going to change that. We are going to fight this. And if not, we're going to die trying. To Hawkins, defying fate and fighting the high probabilities just doesn't make sense to him. But Killer kind of negs him on, saying, hey, you're going to regret choosing that side soon enough. And then, in an amazing double page spread, Killer goes in and chops off his left arm without hesitation. He just confirms, he's like, hey, like, what if the damage has nowhere to go? And then, you know, he's like, oh, it'll always go to that part of the body. And that is when Killer, no questions asked, he just goes in for the kill, chops off the left arm. Hawkins' face right here says it all. That is the face of a man that just lost an arm. Welcome to the club, buddy. So yes, Hawkins no longer has a left arm. I'm assuming he's going to be using his devil fruit to make a straw arm from now on. But yeah, it's crazy. The amount of pain that this man is going through right now is enough to KO him, but he doesn't give up there. In another amazing double page spread, Hawkins draws a Grim Reaper card. He brings out the giant scarecrow, the straw man, and then, without hesitation, again, if Oda said that wasn't enough, we gave you Hawkins getting his arm chopped off, here is Killer chopping Strawman in half. This is something that Zoro did in the beginning of Wano, and here we have Killer doing the exact same thing. The parallels between Zoro and Killer and Luffy and Kid could not become more apparent. And with that being said, Hawkins is not done yet. He's going in for one more draw. The heart of the cards is on his side. Or so he thought. He drew his final card, and to almost mock him, he drew the Upside Down Tower, the card that symbolizes the ending of old power and the beginning of a new path, a new power. And this is why I'm saying that Big Mom and Kaido are going to go down, and Luffy and Kid are going to be the ones who beat them. It is not a coincidence that right after we see this Upside Down Tower, we go to a panel of Kid just saying, my body's feeling light, I'm feeling good about this, and it's all darkened out. This is Oda foreshadowing 101. He loves his symbolism, and this is symbolic that Kid is going to beat Big Mom. I don't know how. Don't look at me for the answers. Maybe it's COC, maybe it's Awakening, who knows? But we all know that Kid is in due for a major upgrade. Real quick, before we move on, I have to say my favorite part about this chapter has to be Hawkins' reactions to everything that Killer does. Every time Killer does an ability, Hawkins is just like baffled. He's like, whoa, what's happening? Whoa, my left arm, what's going on? The wrong card. He's just freaking out during this entire fight. And Oda does not pump the brakes, man. So when he goes to chop off his arm, we have this amazing double page spread. It looks really cool. And then, you know, the next page comes up and then boom, he cuts Strawman in half. And then you're like, oh yeah, okay, cool. He got two double page spreads in a row. And then we get a third. We get a third double page spread of Killer landing the final blow. My favorite part about this is that these are all like named attacks, right? Like these are all hefty attacks. And beforehand, we haven't really seen Killer fight at all. So it's almost like Oda saying, hey, he has a lot of abilities. He doesn't just, you know, chop, and he's good. These are actual genuine abilities. In some weird instance, it's almost like Oda's pumping out these abilities, these named attacks, or some sort of fighting game. It almost feels like a game company called up Oda and said, hey, we want to make a One Piece fighting game, and we don't really know what abilities that Killer has, and we really want to put him in the game. Can you help us out, Oda-san? And then Oda's like, yeah, I got you, homies. I'll draw something up right now. And then boom, we have this chapter. Which I have to say real quick, Demon Slayer just got a brand new game, and it's really cool, right? But you gotta admit, why does One Piece not have a game like this? Why? There's so many good characters in One Piece that you could flesh out. Characters that have a bunch of abilities and different playing styles, but we have nothing. We have nothing here. Alright, so now on to the last talking point of this video before I end it off. But the real question that everybody's been wondering, the main debate that I've seen in the comments section, is whether or not Kid will be able to beat Big Mom. For me, the answer is yes. He will beat her because, you know, between the card and the parallels with Luffy and what he says during this chapter, I feel like he is set up narratively to beat Big Mom. Do I think this will be an easy feat? Hell no. I believe Kid, if he does end up beating Big Mom, this will be a fight of a lifetime, a fight with a character we have not spent a lot of time with. We do not know all of Kid's capabilities. We don't know what he can pull off just yet. So I feel like he has a lot of room to grow. He might even have a couple abilities that we haven't seen quite yet as well. Kid as a fighter has a lot of untapped potential. We already know that he has ACoC, he has Conqueror's Haki, but the real question is, will he be able to advance that to the level of Luffy's? But thanks to Rayleigh, we do know that Haki blooms in the heat of battle. The more intense people you fight, the stronger your Haki becomes. And what better way to sharpen your Haki than a fight with a Yonko? So if Kid is gonna grow up and if he's gonna get this giant upgrade, it's gonna be right here and now. Also, real quick, I saw a small minority in the comment section talking about how, Kid had a power up from the upside down tower card that Hawkins drew. I really doubt that. While Hawkins can give power boost to allies and himself, I don't believe that power boost applied to Kid because the straw man was already outside of him. I believe that Kid just feels a lot better now that he doesn't have a mild headache and that he's not taking any more damage. I would guarantee that if I had a giant migraine and my head was being slammed against the wall, if it stopped, I'd be like, wow, I feel great right now. One last thing I want to say before we end off this video, but to the people that think that Kid cannot be Big Mom, you have to remember that right now, Kid has the best support character by his side in the form of Trafalgar Law. Law has been shambling Kid out of every meaty attack that Big Mom has been throwing at them. He essentially has infinite substitution jutsu until Law runs out of stamina, which, might be pretty close considering how heavy he's breathing. But with that being said, now that Killer is free from fighting Hawkins, he might actually back them up as well. Having Killer there is a huge boost, even though Killer's, at half capacity because he's been fighting all the way through. Having somebody there in assistance will help a lot. And maybe, who knows, what if Hawkins wakes up and he's like, you know what? My cards are telling me that the Big Mom pirates are gonna fall. Kaido pirates are gonna fall. So I'm now gonna help out the Straw Hat Alliance. Maybe I did pick the wrong side. I can see Hawkins following the probability, or maybe he'll have a character development where he's like, you know what? These cards don't mean anything. I'm gonna take a bet on the Straw Hats, on the new generation. So that's also another potential on what might happen here. Having multiple supernova versus Big Mom might just bring out the W. Also, don't forget, but on a 0.00001% chance that Oda wants to use it, Law could also use his immortality surgery on Kid. It would be ridiculous. I don't know why Kid would be the character that gets it, but he does have that ace in their sleeve, albeit Law would have to sacrifice himself for Kid, which I also cannot see happening, but there's also that chance as well. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. There wasn't too much to talk about this time around because it's pretty straightforward, but I love this chapter a lot. I really like what they did with the Killer and Hawkins fight. I was honestly blown away. It wasn't the best fight out there, but in terms of character development and just flashy attacks and characters that we don't really see in the spotlight, I think Oda did a really good job of fleshing them out. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for all the likes and views I got on last chapter's video. It was kind of insane. I really don't feel like I deserve that amount of views. I got like 12K on it, which is insane. I really don't think this video will do as well, but we'll see what happens there. But like I said, I can't thank you guys enough for all the subscriptions, all the likes and the comments. It means a crap ton to me. You guys have no clue. And also to the people who leave comments on my videos, thank you so much again. Like, I read every single comment, whether I like it or comment back. I genuinely read through every single one of them. I have my notifications on my phone and I'm just like, wow, that's a cool comment. Whether it's about One Piece or just some random stuff, I love hearing from you guys, and it truly does mean a lot. I really appreciate it. If you take the time to write something out and post it, I will respect that and take the time to read it as well. So like I said, I can't thank you guys enough. There's no break next week, so I'm really excited for that. I think we're gonna get some more Kid versus Big Mom action, and hopefully Oda will show us some sort of potential that Kid can reach to potentially fight Big Mom and take her on equal footing, but we'll see what happens there. And without further ado, my name is Sai, and thanks for watching.